Yo, welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade. It's the show that continues to be in awe of Simone Biles.
Every single time. Here we go. Wow.
Hey judges who don't acknowledge Simone's greatness, I did a triple roll out of the bed and landed on 1 foot this morning. Do I get a higher score than her because I'm a man and it's less dangerous or something? Come on, guys. Let's start with the obvious. These are the hot takes. Paul Pierce, member of the 2021 Hall of Fame class and charter member of NBA Twitter's mythical Hall of Fame for his confusion over rocket emojis and rocket clip art, is back in the news again for declaring that he did not need ESPN and that he's made more money this past month with Ethereum and cryptocurrency than he did with the network in the past year. For those who don't remember, Pierce was fired in early April after he willingly posted an IG live of himself partying along with his friends and ladies of varying degrees of undress while ignoring his company's COVID protocols. I still contend that Truth was fired because his IG live numbers were so bad, a video of myself walking my dog on a dirt path wearing my Fragment 1s would do better, but whatever. Anyways, hopefully it's true Paul doesn't need ESPN because he's one of the best players of his generation and has made nearly $200 million in his career before taxes. He probably just wanted out because he didn't want to deal with Jalen Rose constantly roasting him.
121, 113, LeBron James and the Lakers.
Gotta get going, LeBron. Those Paul Pierce numbers.
If Paul wants to get on the internet's good side again, he needs to post his crypto takes along with that rocket clip art and say they're going to the moon, baby. Now, we rarely talk about golf here on Hard Pass, which is a shame because I love golf. But man, I gotta talk about this rivalry between Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau, Charlemagne, whatever. So these two have been at each other's giant necks for the past few years, mostly on social media with snarky tweets and pictures of major trophies. We finally saw it in person and in 4K this past week when during a post-round interview at the PGA Championship, Brooks closed his eyes in disgust, only for us to discover a half second later it was because Bryson was passing by. Like, there's always a part of me that thinks it's all for show and these guys are probably BFFs in real life, but no, not this one. You don't make that kind of face, especially in public, unless you have just utter disdain for the other person. Like, I bet Kwame Brown made those same faces when he listened to that episode of All the Smoke. But yes, more intense rivalries like this, golf. I wish Tiger and Phil or Jack and Arnie or Greg Norman and Sundays at a Major had this kind of visceral animosity back in the days. Steve-O was guest on Sneaker Shopping, and I have to say it was maybe my favorite episode in a long time. First of all, I actually recognize who was standing next to my man Joe LaPuma, but also because Steve-O has been around forever and has got the best and worst stories, man. Like, sure, he's standing next to a wall of hyped SB dunks, but I didn't care about that. I wanted to know more about his stories of getting on Big Brother magazine and crazy stunts he pulled shilling for his own sponsored skate shoes. I also came for the comment section to see if people were getting mad that he was throwing shoes and dropping boxes in the intro. Like, imagine you sent your diamond dunks to that shop and they used it for that bit. I would be slightly upset, but also honored at the same time that something I owned landed on Steve-O's head. In the news that makes Marvel's Kevin Feige even more valuable, J.J. Abrams says that the recent trilogy of Star Wars films would have been better if they had a plan. Yeah, I don't think J.J. needed to say that. We saw Rise of Skywalker. Between the DCEU being in shambles, Star Wars movies in limbo, and John Cena potentially ruining overseas box office for future Fast and Furious films for saying Taiwan is a country, Marvel is over there dropping movies about superpower beings who were so unimpressed with Thanos that they didn't even bother to show up for Infinity War or Endgame. And I bet you that explanation is going to be so unbelievably dumb, and yet we're going to fall for it because Selma Hayek is wearing sexy Loki cosplay. This week's award for a team-up I never saw coming goes to a picture of Rick Ross handing off a bottle of his Bel Air Blue champagne to Jay Leno, the man who was single-handedly responsible for the shortage of Levi's denim Jordan 4s? What? Congratulations to Guy Fieri for getting the bag. Guy just signed a 3-year, $80 million contract extension to do, well, Guy Fieri things. I don't know. I don't actually watch Guy. I just hear the words Flavortown and I just blank out. But what I thought was funny was the reaction by people who were comparing what Guy does to football players who make similar amounts of money like Tom Brady. Like, Guy Fieri isn't a businessman. He's a businessman. Dude has hosted food shows, travel shows, game shows, everything. Now, if you're wondering if I'm just caping for Guy because, well, I want to be the sneaker guy, Pierre? I think we know the answer to that. I promise, when it happens and I get that bag, I won't start a show called Sneaker Town. Maybe. So, there was a bit of controversy this week regarding my 17-time world champion Los Angeles Lakers when LeBron James was reportedly at a celebrity gathering for a tequila brand he invested in. It's a clear violation of the league's COVID-19 protocols that states they shouldn't be going to celebrity gatherings for tequila brands they have an investment stake in or whatever. Anyways, according to the league, James won't be suspended because he's not going to be suspended because the event did not rise to a level of a viral threat and everybody in attendance either had to be vaccinated or provide a negative COVID test. That's a filthy excuse relative to the protocols in place. Personally, as somebody who wants us to get our act right and move on from this pandemic as soon as possible, I wish the league had fined and suspended LeBron to show that not even their top guy is above the rules. As a Laker fan, I wish the same thing because this is a lot more important than my 17-time world champion Los Angeles Lakers becoming the 18-time world champion Los Angeles Lakers. If the suspension had cost us the season, it's fine. We're still trading Kyle Kuzma for Giannis Antetokounmpo this summer anyways. Antetokounmpo, Charlemagne. Anyways, the following message is for Nike. In an Instagram post, Virgil finally confirmed his upcoming collection of 50 Nike Dunks that will be called Dear Summer, which appears to be a reference to a legendary Jay-Z verse on Memphis Bleek's 534 album and the Jeezy track of the same name. In that same post, Virgil shows off multiple pictures of the packaging that features his trademark flair of cutout holes and sketches of the swoosh. We don't get an official look at the shoes, but according to the many, and there are many leaks, the 50 Dunks will almost be entirely using the same gray and cell color scheme with changes coming in the form of different upper materials, lace colors, zip tags, and an embellishment on the midsole that denotes which numbered pair it is. Number 50 appears to be the only pair that uses a different color blocking so far, going for an all-black look. Personally, I haven't been on the off-white bandwagon really since the original 10 from a few years ago, but I think this could be an interesting and fun drop this summer, but only if Nike does the right thing and releases them in mass quantities. I know the odds of that are slim like Jay Leno wearing corduroys, but I figured I would give it a try, even considering supply chains, production timeliness, and shipping delays of Dunks and only Dunks for some reason. The 50 Dunks, and however many of each pair that are made, are already in a warehouse somewhere in America that hopefully West Coast Joe doesn't have the address to, or are on a cargo giant ship on the way here and hopefully won't get stuck in the Suez Canal. Considering there are 50 of these things, I'm guessing Nike is going to do a blind box type of release where you won't know which number you get until the shoes actually arrive at your doorstep. Can you imagine if Nike did 50 separate listings throughout the summer? That would flood the feed on sneakers so badly that you guys wouldn't be able to see the sneaker collections of my friends who have made it on the What You Got feature. Shout out to Drew and Diana and Wells and all the others who have made it on there. Anyways, if Nike made these in super limited quantities like they do all other Virgil Off-White releases, there's going to be one unintended consequence: the ugly fight for the first to get all 50. Like Pokemon cards or NFTs, there are going to be sneakerheads out there with stupid amounts of money who are going to do whatever it takes to catch them all. But unlike Psyduck and its super cool alter ego, Shiny Psyduck, these shoes are not adorably stupid. But like Psyduck and its super cool alter ego, Shiny Psyduck, these shoes are very volatile and could explode at any moment. The chase to get all 50 will not be pretty, and it might potentially be dangerous, to be honest, all in the name of clout. Like, imagine you're some sneaker personality with a relatively healthy fan base, and in an effort to get your numbers up, you declare that you're going to go after all 50 Dear Summer Dunks. That chase could take weeks, months, years to accomplish, all for the sake of being able to post a picture with all 50 in one shot. First of all, the logistics of having all 50 in one frame is a daunting task, and how are you going to make sure all 50 are visible and no one's going to accuse you of photoshopping a few missing pairs? It's a hassle. And what do you get out of it besides maybe some deep satisfaction that you set a personal goal for yourself and you followed through on it? What am I talking about? It's not about that. It's about the likes. And the likes are going to be like 10,000, 100,000. That's it. I could go viral tomorrow and do 10 times those numbers if I go buy a barrel of gas from a dumbass who panic bought a few weeks ago, drop my fragments in there, teach my dog how to lie to match, and we watch the shoes blow up while my dog and I recreate the Disaster Girl meme. So, yes, Nike, I don't know what your plan is for these Dear Summer Dunks, but please make them a GR. Stagger release them so it's spread out throughout June until September and make a whole fun game out of it. Don't turn this into a glorified hypebeast clout chase and make them super limited. I already feel sad when I see the same 10 shoes being sold at SneakerCon. Now you're gonna add 49 of the same white and cell colored dunks to the mix? But then again, I'm out here hoping I get number 23 or number 8 or number 24, so what do I know? It's the Heat Check, where we bring you everything that's dropping this week. Here's a quick rundown of sneakers that have been previously delayed or we really don't care enough to write something clever about them. The Nike Dunk Low Varsity Maize on the 3rd for $100. The Nike Dunk Low Varsity Green on the 3rd for $100. The Nike Waffle 1 Active Fuchsia on June 4th for $100. We have the Adidas Yeezy Boost 380 Alien Blue on the 31st for $230. Before Yeezy co-opted the name, the most popular Alien Blue was an iOS app for browsing Reddit. According to Wikipedia, it was the official and the most popular Reddit client on the App Store at the time. It was officially purchased in October 2014 to replace their own application as the new official Reddit client. However, Alien Blue was shut down in 2016 after it too was replaced by what else? Reddit's official app. We have the New Balance Kawhi Moreno Valley on the 1st for $160. Props to Kawhi Leonard and New Balance for this love letter to Leonard's hometown. It's not every day the Inland Empire gets some representation in the sneaker world. Usually it's just jokes from LA Twitter and the occasional strays from Valley Twitter. The Nike Air Max 90 Laser on the 2nd for $200. Whoa, $200? Never knew the laser etching premium was that much. What are these, Entourage Fukuyama Air Force Ones? By the way, did anybody else think it was funny when Turtle asked Fukuyama if he was living in Japan and his response was that he was born and raised in Glendale? By the way, shout out to Dante Bosco, the Filipino-American actor who plays Fukuyama. We have the Mimi Plange Nike LeBron 18 Low Higher Learning on the 2nd for $170. Fashion designer Mimi Plange will be collaborating with Nike on not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Nike LeBron 18 Lows, starting with this homage to the Leatherman jacket. It's part of a larger collection that we have yet to see that will explore Mimi's experiences as a Ghanaian-born kid who moved to California at a young age. Women's Air Jordan 1 Metallic Purple on June 3rd for $170. So these will be the most worn shoes you'll see in this week's group of releases, other than probably those Michigan and Michigan State dunks. It's a retro of an underrated OG colorway, and people love them some purple, man. Women's Nike Dunk Low Light Soft Pink June 4th for $100. Here we go again with another mismatched colorway of dunks. I wonder how soon it's going to be before people start to notice and call this trend DOA. Not anytime soon if the success of the SB Dunk What the Paul and the anticipation for the free 99 dunks are anything to go by. Nike LeBron 8 Low Miami Nights June 4th for $180. After seeing cool kids who got advanced pairs of these on social media, it appears that there is enough difference in the shades of Solar Red and Glass Blue between this release and the original pair for people to discern which is which. Personally, it's not enough for me to want to chase the premium price of the original, but I do think there will be purists who will prefer the 2011 release. Air Jordan 6 Electric Green June 5th for $190. Before there was Volt, there was Electric Green. The bright pops of green is a little weird on the Air Jordan 6, but I think that's a good thing just to spice it up just a little bit. And it also gives Nike the excuse to also drop a Volt pair in a few years and claim it's so different from these. And then the pick of the week is the Nike KD 14 and Kyrie 7 Kai D pack, June 5th for $150 and $130 respectively. You know what we haven't seen in a while? A good looking sneaker pack, and unless there's a surprise that I'm unaware of in the next few days, it looks like that streak will continue. But it shouldn't be the case, because if Nike had any guts, they would have released this colorway swap collaboration in a special edition box that highlights the friendship of Brooklyn Nets teammates Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Hell, maybe next time include Jordan Brand so Blake Griffin can get in on the fun. His early Hyper Dunks and Superflies were awesome. Not really holding my breath for a collab with James Harden though. And now for a heat check on the Air Jordan 36. After a leak by Satu Sababli of the WNBA's Dallas Wings, we got a closer look at them on the feet of Jason Tatum during warm-ups of Game 2 between Boston and Brooklyn. Sadly, we probably won't get that many chances to see Tatum wear these if the results of the first 2 games are anything to go on. Man, this is going to be real awkward if Boston actually bounces back and even this series by the time this goes live. Anyways, it was less of a leak and more of an official tease by Sabali, but once we got cleaner pictures of the shoes, it gave us a better idea of what to expect with Jordan Brand's latest flagship sneaker. Man, it only feels like yesterday we were just getting used to the idea of the Air Jordan 35. Well, that's partially because it was just yesterday, because new colorways of the 35 are still dropping and we were still getting new Air Jordan 34 drops as recently as August and September 2020. The pandemic basketball schedule? It's really made a weird mess of perception when it comes to signature shoes and when they actually drop. Where was I? Okay, back to the 36. It's unconfirmed, but it appears that we will be getting the 3.0 version of the Eclipse plate that was first introduced in the Air Jordan 34. We are a long ways away from the days when the look of the tooling seemingly changed year to year with Air Jordans, but then again, if the tech is highly effective and the players wearing them aren't complaining, why mess with a good thing? The wavy pattern on the shoes decoupled midsole could make for some interesting colorways, especially if the stripe is iridescent and changes colors. Now, if you're wondering what are the ties to the Air Jordan 6, it appears to be that Jumpman logo on the laces and a slightly different take on the heel tab. I'm sure if in the coming months we'll get Nike officially explaining how these shoes are inspired by the 6, and it'll probably include graphics and animations that show us all the different ways we just can't let go of the past. Ever since the Air Jordan turned 31, the canonical basketball signature shoe has been going through a midlife crisis. It was kind of clever the first time Jordan Brand turned to the rich history. It was when the Air Jordan 31 was revealed and it had borrowed elements and eventually colorway ideas from the Air Jordan 1, hoping the magic of the 1 would rub off on the 31, most notably in the sales department. But then they did it again with the Air Jordan 32, and the Air Jordan 33, and 34, and so on. Sometimes the nods have been subtle and touching at a certain degree. Other times it feels like they're just hoping lightning will strike twice. Look, it's not that I have a problem with Jordan Brand leveraging their past in order to get people who might only care about retros to take a look at their new stuff. But it has to stop at some point, right? Like, I don't know about you, but if this trend continues, I'm not looking forward to the Air Jordan 45 that's going to be inspired by the Air Jordan 15, or the Air Jordan 52 that's inspired by the Air Jordan 22. And what happens when we get to the Air Jordan 61? Is it going to be based on the Air Jordan 31, which was based on the Air Jordan 1? It probably won't matter by then, because by the time we get to the Air Jordan 61, the UFOs will have come back and told us to get our shit together, or else we'll choose or else. As a hooper, I'm probably happy that the 36 is going to iterate on what went right with the 34 and 35, but as a fan of culture, I want the 36 to be unlike anything else. I don't want to hear that they turn to the 6 for inspiration. I want to hear the story of Tinker Hatfield being inspired by a life event or a game of NBA Jam or what he had for dinner last night, and how all those things helped bring us this all new, all different Air Jordan, not a rehash of the old days. Like, could you imagine if they had started this nostalgia trip earlier and the Air Jordan 11 wasn't the Air Jordan 11 we know and love now, but rather the Air Jordan 11 mixed with stuff from the 1 like the Nike Air Tag or the Wings logo? Yikes. Imagine the Wings logo on the 11? Nah. But anyways, I'm sure I'll be pumped to see what the Air Jordan feels like to play in. I just wonder if it's going to be enough for sneaker culture. I give the Air Jordan 36 so far a preliminary 23 Michael Jordan shrugs out of 45 Michael Jordan death stares. It's time for this week's Hard Pass. I don't know why I did that. Where we take a look at something in the culture that just needs to go. Like fans who get way too comfortable. Look, I understand. It's a beautiful thing that fans are back in sports and we're getting ever so close to everything being back at full capacity. But just because you're back cheering our team or booing the other side, it doesn't give you the right to act like total idiots. And we had 2 examples of total idiots on Wednesday night when a jackass dropped popcorn on Russell Westbrook as he was walking to the locker room to deal with an ankle injury, and a scumbag tried to spit at Trae Young and instead inadvertently caught 50 Cent's girl and possibly Academy Award-winning actress Julianne Moore. It's disgusting behavior that deserves lifetime bans and infinite scorn on the internet, especially that spitting incident. Imagine if that spit had directly hit Trae or the people on the sidelines. First of all, the spittle from that is already a worse violation than LeBron hanging out with Drake to sell tequila. Second of all, imagine if 50 had seen it. Not sure he would have done anything, but I'm sure he's got some people in the back who would have been more than happy to oblige. And then there's Kyrie Irving's comment hoping that the boos and jeers he gets when he returns to Boston are just boos and jeers and not racist bile. Naturally, that set off a certain part of the Celtic fan base, which, you shouldn't be offended by that if you're not that type to spew that kind of nonsense. But if you are offended, maybe think about why you're offended that a player is just stating something that he and others like him have experienced playing against the Celtics, and maybe let Marcus Smart, a player on your own team, speak about how weird it is to hear those comments while playing for the Celtics. All right, and now for this week's actual Hard Pass. More colorways of the Dior Air Jordan 1. Ever since the release of the highly successful and obscenely expensive Dior Air Jordan 1, there have been rumors and speculation that there are more colorways on the way. Like, we have Photoshops wondering what a Chicago Dior or a Royal pair or maybe even an all-white one. And I'm not a fan. If you've been watching Hard Pass for any amount of time, you've probably heard me say that most, if not all, collaborations should be one-off projects. The Off-White 10? a one-time deal. The Nike Air Yeezy? Never before, never again. I was willing to even be a little lenient about it and give these things like a 10-year window before we saw another team up or at least work on a new model like, say, the Nike Air Yeezy 2. Like, I would be morbidly curious to see what a Dior Air Jordan 2 would look like. Heavy emphasis on morbidly. When brands like Dior and Nike Jordan brand collide, it should mean something. Making more colorways diminishes the partnership in my eyes. Yes, it makes more pairs available, I guess, which means more opportunities for people like you and me to buy, but it's not like the shoes are going to be GRs and cost $170 like ones currently go for. When I heard that as a part of their anniversary celebration, Union will be releasing more Jordan 4 colorways, I was bummed because I thought Union would be doing a different pair of J's. It just seems like a double dip for the sake of it instead of doing it for the art of it. Like, if Dior wanted to do Chicago ones or Royal ones, they should have released it at the same time as the white and gray pair. Maybe you could argue that dilutes the partnership, but I would disagree. If they had all dropped at the same time, we would have conversations about which is better, how they would rank in the pantheon of great Jordan collaborations, and blah, blah, blah. Now we're just stuck in this perpetual cycle where we're waiting to see if Dior is going to come back for an encore every few months until it actually happens or it doesn't. It's a bummer because I always want to see what's next and what's different. The Dior ones were a 2020 sneaker moment, and honestly, I think it should stay there. All right, that's going to do it for the show. Thank you guys for watching Hard Pass. I am Jacques Slade. I'll see you next week, but not before I show you yet another example of the purest thing on the internet, of game of chase between a chicken and a dog. Aw, I'll see you guys next week. Peace.